That role can be replaced. Nobody can be mom to my child. That's it. And that brings it to a right perspective.
Hey, Boss Mama. Get ready for an episode that will change how you think about stress, success, and self-care. Today, I'm joined by Lianna-Monnier, a psychologist, speaker, and founder of the Center for Emotional Health in Switzerland. After years of working one-on-one with clients, Anna shifted her focus to teaching and educating bigger audiences about emotional well-being, burnout prevention, and how we, as women, can protect our mental health while juggling business, family, and life. She's worked with organizations like Google, the Red Cross, and the Swiss Education Group, helping people navigate high-pressure environments while still prioritizing themselves. And if there's one thing I know for sure, is that mompreneurs live in a high-pressure mode every single day. We're talking about the mental load, why pushing through isn't the answer, and how to redefine self-care in a way that actually supports our ambitions. So if you ever felt like you're running on empty, but don't know how to slow down without falling behind, this episode is for you. Hey Boss Mama! Welcome to the show, empowering mompreneurs to thrive in business and motherhood. Let's get started. Hi Anna, thank you for joining me on the show. I'm really happy to have you here. We actually know each other because we work together for a couple of months now. And it's just really awesome to have you on the podcast because I know that you have so much to share with other moms, with other entrepreneurs, and a lot about mindset and mental health. So please tell us how you become an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Manushka. It's great to be here. It's true, it makes it special because we know each other. It feels warm. So I'm happy to be here, and share. So I'm Anna. I'm a mom of a 5-year-old, soon to be in September. Happily married here in Switzerland. I was born in Ukraine. So in Switzerland, I live around soon to be 10 years. I am a psychologist and I'm super passionate about educating people about the importance of mental health, emotional health, taking this journey of healing and self-care in a deeper, holistic way in order not to end up in burnout. So this is the biggest passion of mine. But as being a mom, as being a woman, I'm super passionate to educate, to let's say encourage, maybe a better word, moms about the importance of rest and self-care and me time, all of it.
Wonderful. And how did you decide that you wanted to go and close the practice that you had before and really dedicate yourself around the topic of self-care?
It was definitely through a personal journey, personal experience, because I did have a private practice and I did close it, even though from time to time I miss it. And exceptionally, some clients, they come back after years, after they've been in therapy, and I do take them on. But it's true that I went into this change of teaching bigger groups because I was in burnout twice myself. And the whole motherhood experience, becoming a mom changed everything for me in terms of my professional activity, in terms of my life and the rhythm of life. So I went through burnout because my son was born with some health issues. And, not only I entered motherhood and that changes your life inevitably, and I would call it a revolution. But then on top of that, I had another big layer that I had to deal with, which we were in the hospital nonstop for a few first months of his life. So this all led me to this understanding in my own journey that if I won't take care of myself, I won't be able to provide care for him, even though it's such an internal conflict, when you know your child needs you and actually even more maybe than usual. It's awkward, how I can, sit here and drink my coffee where I would need to hold my baby. But actually drinking coffee and taking the pause would make me stronger and more resourced, to come back to him and give my best. So I know maybe it sounds a bit simple, or I know it's not so easy to actually end there with this understanding. For every mom and everyone is different. But for me, that was very, very big shift in how I approached motherhood and both relationship with myself and with my son, and then accordingly with everything that I do now, which is my activity as an entrepreneur. So
that's really beautiful because I feel like in a way we're in parallels because many of the women who are listening to this is like, it's not just you are who you are, and then you have a child and you continue being who you are. No, no, not at all. It's like a revolution, like you just said, where the way you live, the way you rest, the way you do business or whatever it is in your daily life, you can't just do it the way it was. You have to completely rethink the models you had, the schedule you had, and everything. Just like it's a puzzle that's just exploded. And then you have to find new pieces that let you create a new picture, and that it actually works for you. And it's not that easy.
It's not that easy, totally. And it's a lot of change, but also I think this internal change, which is change of identity, literally. And we are better now in these times we live in now. We talk about that more than before, but still I find not enough of how this new identity is born within us. And I heard, it's not mine, and I heard it somewhere that it's not only the baby is born, but mother is born. And it's just so true.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Completely.
It's true. It's not just one more role. And
Yeah.
yes, it's given by nature, but still it's something so big that I wonder if we realize, and hopefully science will also back up this more and more, how much change on every level, which is psychological, physiological, happens in woman's life when she gives birth.
Yeah, you're not ready to be a mom or a parent, because it's the same for the dads, until the baby is there. And I mean, you can try to prepare also for your business and things like that. But I feel until you're actually in that situation, it's very hard to know what you're going to be like, what you're going to feel, because it's different for everyone, anyways. So it's important to prepare. And personally, I know that there's a lot of things I could have done better for my business in order to baby proof it. And that's going to be the topic of a solo show too. But I feel like you have to really go through that transition to actually be able to handle it in a way. But I'm really curious about something too, because I've been reading a book that talks a lot about natal depression. And I know it's very different from a burnout, but a lot of times I think in both situations, you don't necessarily know that you're at the beginning of going through an issue with your mental health. How did you know that you were going through a burnout? And was it something that you realized right away? Like, what are some of the signs that other moms might end up being able to identify?
Yeah, it's very good question, very valid question, because obviously with so much change also on the hormonal level, we will inevitably, as new moms, have these days of being low, being overtired with the lack of sleep. All of this is given. But I think where it should be a red flag is when it's lasting too long. And it's not just on and off. You have better days and worse days. In psychology, we always put it into weeks kind of timing. I don't know if it's maybe a bit too dry to always apply it, but I think that if it's lasting more than a week and then it turns into 10 days and you feel like it's not just blues. And here it's important to clarify that postpartum depression and burnout are different. So for me, it was, many reasons, and two burnouts were for two different reasons, or the causes were different. But I think when we can understand that it's not just lack of sleep and all this change, but it's abnormal tiredness and this feeling like you're like falling in a hole. It sounds a bit dramatic, but it's true. I know these moms who've been in this rhythm of non-stop exhaustion, but then they felt like it's just going downhill. That's what depression is like when we see no hope in front of us. That's where it's so crucial to ask for help, but even before, even if it's just blues, I can't emphasize enough is how important it is for mom to ask for help. But answering your question, I think when you feel that you might be irritated, you might be tired, but then you know that the smallest task that usually you would still were able and capable of doing just brings you like you're crushed by seeing it or knowing you have to do it. It's like I bring an example of a string on the guitar. And as soon as you touch it, like with your finger, the sound is so loud, it basically breaks. So I think noticing the signs is very important and getting help.
Just to segue slightly into the business aspect. So your son is now 5 years old, but how old was he when you started your business? And how did you manage to get everything going? Burnout, work, baby, like did everything happen at the same time, or how did that go?
No, what was happening, I was still continuing my private practice after his birth. because I would choose my days when I would work with clients. There is still this freedom of entrepreneurship, which was a bit challenging with the childcare, but I had help. Of course, I wasn't working for almost a full year, but I think and probably my personality, my way of approaching things. I remember rolling in my stroller, and he was about 8 months and doing better at that point. And I was just recording in my stories on Instagram everything I'm learning just there on the spot, being very raw and having this passion for moms because I was cooked, newly cooked mom. I think that ability, and because the field where I am, and it's a very life applicable thing, psychology, whatever angle we touch on, I always had something to say. And for me, of course, I would not call it then a business, but I knew that I'm building my community and I'm bringing value just by sharing my personal experience. And actually, we know that people look for connection, whether they buy a product from you, or especially if a brand is a person, they want that connection. So everyone actually was very appreciative that I'm sharing very honestly. And of course, that requires some vulnerability. But it's just to say that, yes, I cannot say it was business in a pure form, but it was already starting there with this raw experience I was going through. And I think it's actually about us women. We do make meaning out of what we go through. So I think that was a bit my approach, as Oprah says, take your wounds and make them into wisdom. So I think I was going through a tough time, it's true, but I knew I'm not the only one, and maybe it can help. How I'm dealing with it can help another mom. So that's a bit of that side. And then also a tipping point in my life, the whole activity was the war in my homeland. So there it turned things upside down, even though surprisingly, maybe to someone that I'm in safety, but it changed things for us, for our family. So I said to myself, yeah, I'm focusing really on groups now. I'm not able to trying to help my fellow Ukrainians, then keeping up with clients, then taking care of my child, and then teaching. And I think that was the heaviest burnout because I was carrying different types of caregiving role, which was just very exhausting. And I said to myself, that's again a time to reconsider and to reevaluate and to start taking care of myself so I can provide better care.
Yeah, definitely. I resonate with quite a few things that you said just now, notably with when we share and we're being raw and how we can connect with others. And I find that it's not always easy to do because we want to appear so professional and put together. And even like I teach marketing and it's something that I love and I'm really good at it, but I don't have all my stuff done perfect for myself. So I know exactly what other entrepreneurs are going through and I can help them with that. I know exactly what needs to be done. But then I need to be honest about the fact that I'm not good with my newsletter. So far, like it's something that I had started before baby arrived, and then it's something that I let go of. But I also have to be kind with myself because we can't do everything perfect. We can't prioritize everything. I'm still going to have a lot of things going on all the time because I'm also a very creative person. But it's also about being lenient with ourselves, knowing what really needs to be pushed, knowing also that we need to set ourselves some limits. And it takes to have a lot of self-love. And I know that's one of your topics too, but it's not easy, right? Like, where do you decide that you have to say like, okay, that would be in an ideal situation, I would do all these things. But then I have to be able to say, okay, with the amount of bandwidth that I have, because I don't want to run myself crazy, this is fine. I'm not going to do that now, or I'm going to do less of something.
Yeah, well, thank you for mentioning self-love in there. And I would add self-acceptance. Those are different, but like sisters.
Yeah.
Because I think just accepting all of it, the change that happened, us within this change, just also the kind of mom we want to be. Because now we are here and within the context of this podcast, mom entrepreneurs who, are active moms and they want to do their thing. I think it's just so important because there's so much internal influence and social pressure and social media pressure. I mean, let's be honest, we're a generation where we're raising our kids with social media, and that's different because we hear all this information, what we could do and how to do better. And then the comparison trap and all of that, we know that. But what is important for me and what kind of mom I want to be, or even what kind of entrepreneur I want to be or businesswoman, because it really, really lands so well with self acceptance and self love. And then next point you're mentioning, like, what are my priorities? Even with priorities, maybe even deeper, what are my values? Core things that are important for me. And I think as much as my business is important because, it brings me alive because my business, it's an activity that I enjoy, that has an impact, that is very rewarding. But still, when there would be a choice, I always knew, well, my child, it's my biggest project, which is not obvious. It's not paying off just yet, but it's my biggest project. And of course, we can say it, easily. Oh, yeah, like you're raising a human mama, like just imagine. It's true and it's good words, but to live it, it's hard. And what it reminds me of just now as we talk is when I would have to, not to choose, but when I felt, and probably that would be also my message, like if someone feels as a new mom that they're losing momentum in their business or in their project they're trying to build, because, the baby is just so unpredictable and the baby takes up space and with their needs, they change things so quickly for you. I think I had this frustration. I feel I'm losing momentum and I had to let that go because this can bring us down and that can be just so frustrating, because maybe it's true. Technically, visually, I don't know, realistically, it's true. You did lose momentum. I remember these moments, like you wake up in the morning, you're sick, and like all your day goes out the window. But then you're like, yeah, but what is my values? Nobody can be mom to my child. That's it. And that brings it to the right perspective, if you see what I mean. So this losing momentum, these choices that sometimes are tough, and it's a lot of topics, like juggling it all together, how to put the priorities when we're free, when we're not working 9 to 5, where, we're just obliged to show up at work. So like maybe we're not going there just yet, but I wanted to emphasize of like not get into the frustration mode of losing momentum because of your child.
Hey, Mama, can we talk about that constant feeling of overwhelm? Like you're spinning all your plates, kids, business, housework, and something's always about to drop. Been there, done that. That's why I created my free webinar, From Overwhelmed to Organized. In just 20 minutes, I'll share 5 time management strategies that will change the game for you. Imagine running your business with confidence, knowing what to do next to move the needle forward. Sounds like something you need? Then head to heybossmama.com/webinar and let's give you clarity and focus.
Yeah. I actually had to make a conscious decision that it was okay, because when I was preparing for my son to arrive, I thought, I know that I want to go towards education because also I want to have a bigger reach. And if I only do one-on-one agency work, then it means that I have a limitations in my number of hours and amount of work that I can take on. And I want to be able to help more people. So I thought, okay, I want to go towards education and I'm going to set everything up. Except during those 9 months, I was so busy with client work that I didn't do anything with preparing for the future. And I knew that it's fine, I can do it later. I also thought I want to take at least 3 months, but I don't know if I want to take more for my maternity break. When that was over and I was like, okay, now what happens? I have to get back to work. I need to make money too, because I can't just put everything on the shoulders of my partner, right? And so for me, it was that struggle between I need to make money, I have to be productive, I have to keep going with my business. But at the same time, I'm so busy with my son and I want to give him everything. And I ended up in that time period where I was trying to do some stuff while he was napping, which was not really possible because his naps were all the time and none of the time because I was just like so short. And so I felt guilty because when I was with him, I was thinking about work. And when I was trying to work and he needed my attention and, all of that. And I came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to ask for support from my parents. And I did that for a few months because I have to find my priorities. And right now it is my son. And that first year with him, it's never going to come again. It's only really just once. I also asked for some advice online from other mom entrepreneurs, and you have to focus on what really matters. You know what it is already. It's like, yeah, it's my baby. Definitely, I'm so glad I was able to do that. And I know that not everyone can. My son is about to turn 1 in 2 weeks, oh my God, it goes so fast. And I'm so glad that I was able to work as little as I needed in order to create my business and also to really be there. And having that first year with him, I feel like it was such a blessing and such a luxury too. And now I feel like, okay, I did it. I became a mom full-fledged there. Well, I confirmed it's behind me the first year. I'm also feeling like at peace that I can go into my business knowing that I did the best for my baby.
Yeah, it feels good, and what you are saying and sharing, I think it's just so good. This choice of realizing and deciding again what matters most, but also it doesn't mean completely stopping the rest, but, instead reaching out for help, which is like, bravo. And I'm cheering on you because it always requires, this daring step so I think that's crucial again to know that it's okay to be who you are with all these different facets of us as women. And there's a lot going on of this rediscovering yourself. And I think it's important. That's why I'm all into this deep introspection and, looking within yourself. But it's true, we are new identity now. But, knowing this and not abandoning completely the other sides of us, who I am outside of motherhood. But at the same time, now it's my priority in my world. And that's fine. And maybe actually from a businesswoman, I will end up being a home estate mom, not because I'm told to, but because I want to. Because again, I am honestly answering the question, what is important for me? And it's different for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. And so how do you integrate that in the daily life? How do you integrate self-love and self-care?
That's very good question because now we get very, very real and very practical. Well, for me, I think, again, as I was just mentioning, how important it is to know yourself, your style of motherhood, even. I think the self-care is the same. If we know ourselves well, hopefully we know what is self-care for us. Again, it's not advice from an influencer on Instagram. It should be your, desires, your needs that need to be met. And for me, I think, for example, the way to care for myself is to have small moments just of quiet time. Like it can be really small, really tiny, but it's crucial in the day. So I'm back to do it better, fresher, and then I start creating again because I had this pause, but it's always my choice. I can go, of course, deeper that I work on myself constantly and I'm a psychologist who go to see a psychologist for therapy, but I'm on purpose bringing the small moments that are as crucial for me as much, let's say, serious stuff as going to a doctor on time, because this is all self-care. And it's not only about feeling good. Our advice of always feel good, but it's deeper than that. And setting a tough boundary with the unhealthy relationship is a self-care. We know that. But I'm not going yet into all of these areas, which I actually love to talk about, how important like to apply the self-care that can be tough, in the moment. But guilt comes in so quickly. Like I'm just having my coffee, instead of, again, either being with my child or if he's taken care of, I should be working. But yes, I'm taking care of myself by having this coffee time, whether it's 15 minutes or if I can afford it to a half an hour and so on. So,
yeah, for me, it's been massages.
oh,
Once a
wow.
month, I go for a massage.
Great.
I know it's going to impact me for the rest of the week. Unfortunately, it doesn't last that long, but if I could have a massage every day, I would.
Same here.
It's part of the things where you take the time for yourself and it helps you take better care of the people around you.
And you know what it is for you, right? And it's great to know that, because I think, and it leads us back to that topic, to know yourself and to know your needs. And then, okay, next step, becoming responsible, like owning them. But this first part, because I remember on one of the workshops, I asked, there was a little exercise you were doing, and it's to ask yourself, what do I need right now? Many people were stuck because, again, a constant autopilot and rush and just hustling, we just don't have enough of this time of pausing and, again, aligning with yourself, right? It's all requires reconnecting to yourself to really answer the question, what do I need right now?
It's such a basic, fundamental question. And it's crazy that most people can't just answer it. Like we have ideas about what we need to get done, but we don't think about what we need.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's so powerful because it impacts everything that we do. And we
Exactly.
forget because we get stuck in that rat race. And whether you're an entrepreneur or working in a 9 to 5, it's the same. Like you have to remember why you're doing it. And it's
Mhm.
something that I've been really thinking about with the launch of this podcast because I realized I want to speak to mom entrepreneurs because that's what I need. That's
Mhm.
how I
Mhm.
feel I can make a difference. And
Mhm.
that's the why that's really animating me because it's such an important transformation in my life. I know that it is for other women too. And it shifted completely my approach. I just find it incredible. Like my need has been connecting with others and
Mhm.
it created my why and it completely shifted my mindset. And now I feel so much more confident in what I'm doing too. And I can see the difference. Like before the baby arrived, I was trying to speak to all solo entrepreneurs. And
Mhm.
I was also trying to feel like I was creating something as perfect as I could when I was
Mhm.
talking about myself and my services. And I wasn't happy with it because it
Mhm.
wasn't really me. I was trying too hard. And now
Mhm.
that I let
Mhm.
go and that I know exactly why I'm doing it, that I'm speaking to the right people, other
Mhm.
mom entrepreneurs, it's completely changed my approach. I feel so much more relaxed because I'm more
Mhm.
in tune with who I am.
Wow, this is so beautiful. I think this is really beautiful just because, like, you live it. It's also probably what you wish existed, more podcasts like this, and I can confirm the need is there. Yeah, I felt the same actually that I am trying to build a business. I am a new mom. There are some moms that are doing the same, but they're somewhere out there to feel that you struggle in building your business while doing mothering. I didn't find a lot of support. So it's just back to your why. I think it's the most genuine and the most powerful at the end. Whatever business product that we create, because it is born within us with our story, which is at the core of it, then people can relate. And I think they always will feel it, that it's really real. And I'm cheering on you on that because it's really it's close to my heart. Because I believe with the birth of my child, my best projects were born with him and after him.
Yeah, thank you. If a mom is listening to us right now and she's like, I'm starting to feel that feeling of burnout and I'm not really sure where to get started, what are the first 3 things that you think she should do for her self care?
It probably would depend more or less what stage it is, but if she feels already, she's on the edge, I think asking for help, and it's not necessary right away therapy, but asking very intentionally for help, not only practical help, meal prep or help to sleep more, of a person who can provide some emotional help so she could be heard. The relief that comes with being heard and not judged is huge. And it may sound simple, but it's really sharing where she is and being accepted and take it from there. But I think sooner or later, if we're approaching burnout, it's better, of course, to go to a therapist, to psychologist, and seek professional help. One of the things that I think is doable for anybody is just stopping and honestly having a conversation with yourself. Like, what is happening with me? I'm not hiding. I don't want to pretend, oh, but I should be okay, or I'm doing it for the sake of my child. I'll be strong. Please don't do these things. That's more probably of what not to do, but instead do that reflection, do that honest conversation, voila, and then reach out for help.
One little question that's self interested. How's the experience of working with a marketing coach?
It's great. And I think that's where I am also learning or applying the same principle of asking for help. Because as entrepreneur, often as we start, we just have to do many things ourselves. Let's be honest. It's inevitable. I was always a bit curious about marketing in a way. It was always something I could easily learn, or it would be there in front of my eyes and I would just listen to some training videos. But I think this is where accountability comes in, the support that is along the way. It's not only technical. Of course, working with a marketing expert, it's first of all the expertise I'm outsourcing. But I think, at least in my experience with you, it's also building a relationship. And I think it's a beautiful side to it. And I definitely recommend it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know you're saying it because you believe it, but to hear it, it's always nice.
Yeah, but you're welcome. I really mean it.
Last question, but I think maybe the most important one of this whole interview. What do you wish your son would say about you in the future?
What a question. I have not been asked such a question before. Thank you. I wish that my son would say about me that his mom was a resourced, alive, joyful personality, one that is able to enjoy life, and that he did pick it up from me. He enjoys his life himself now because he has a model in his mom, and that she was not, overworking and or exhausting, or that she was also a peaceful person and was able to, rest and enjoy. That's it.
I love that. It's beautiful. I love hearing those answers because I have goosebumps right now.
Yeah, when you want to, leave a lot of legacy at the end, and right, that's something that will last and outlast you, and that's really my wish for him to see me like that. So it is a very, very important and profound question. Thank you for that.
Where can people learn more about you, what you're offering, and just connect?
Connect with me and know more about everything I'm doing is on Instagram. That's the platform I use the most. I do it with pleasure and very regular. Let's say I'm consistent there.
Super. And we'll have all the links in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm really happy that we had this time because we weren't talking about work. We were talking about life and how work is part of it.
It was a pleasure. It was really a nice flow. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Boss Mamas, there you have it. We had a beautiful conversation with Anna and we covered so many topics. From having your own business to transitioning into being a mom and discovering that new identity to what to do when you start feeling burnout coming and you just need to slow down and take better care of yourself. One of the things I really take away from this conversation is that you need to ask for help and not be shy about it. Sometimes it just means having someone that can really listen to you and understand you without judging. And that is such a feeling of being connected to someone else, but also of acceptance. And I think that's essential no matter what we're going through in our lives. And so I invite you to join our Facebook group community for the Hey Boss Mama podcast, where anyone can join, preferably mom entrepreneurs. But please join us and share about your journey. Ask questions. Other moms can also help because they have experienced what you're going through. And I'm really excited to have you be there and be part of that conversation. Take care. Bye-bye.